A very good morning to you and welcome to Newspaper Review segment right here on TVC Breakfast. It is Friday and my name is Nelson Etta with the very lovely Olamide Adeyemi. Good morning.
Right, good morning, Nelson. Thank God it's Friday.
I mean, it's been a wonderful week thus far, but before
actually,
we get...
with some of the stories we've seen, it's been a really wonderful week. Some would say.
Indeed. But my sweetest so far this week, Olamide, was the pensions backlog that has been cleared by the federal government for the men and women who deserve it. I am so happy about that.
Well, for the backlog that has been cleared, however, we are also talking about ensuring that, this thing gets to those people. However, this is an ongoing process. Investigation should continue to ensure that this is not a one-off thing for pensioners.
Absolutely.
And people who
but for
are
that
served.
to have been recognized and cleared off, that's a good way to start. And that brings us to the first paper this morning, which is the Nation newspaper, with a very simple header that's been making the rounds lately: 32 proposals for new states before the House of Reps panel. Now, see the breakdown. North Central will have 7, Northeast 4, Northwest 5, Southeast 5, South 4, and Southwest 7. That's making up a total of, I think, 14 states right there. And I mean, which state will Luna belong to?
So I see Lagos State. There is hope for Lagos State. We have Lagoon from Lagos State. Perhaps we should be looking at, moving to Lagoon. When we look at maybe the traffic and all of that, I will, surrender myself to ensure that
that would be a nice view to live on, And so you'll be traveling over to my state to visit me.
Yeah, I'll be coming over to Lagos to visit you.
All right, another story right here on the Nation newspaper. That's at the top nameplate. Uni Abuja, UNN get new vice chancellors. A new breath for both universities right there. And if we go a little bit at the bottom of the Nation newspaper, PDP disciplinary committee summons Ayau and Autumn. All right, we'll get to hear exactly what happens at their questioning. That'll be it for the Nation newspaper.
Well, let's go to this Nigeria, and for the creation of additional states, 31 additional states, kudos, knocks have been trailing this proposed venture. It's saying it is myopic, not sustainable, unenviable. Zekome Adegboruwa CSO's condemned reps committee proposal. This is a welcome development, says right activist, as Hirua orders make special case for the Southeast region. And Nelson, of course, some persons will not, accept this with open hands because, there is the question as to some of the states that we have now, how well have they fared? And so the question is it really about creating more states, or is it about ensuring that the ones we have now are viable, can ensure that, there is enough job opportunity, they are generating enough, generated revenue to support the federal government?
Well, while that is on one side of the argument, the other part is that some of the states are quite enormous, in land mass. And so sometimes the hands of government do not get to the ends of the people who live at some of those parts within a state. And so if we split it into two, for instance, then the persons across, both parts would be able to have the dividends of democracy, and governance will get to them. That's the other part of the argument.
Well, that is also, a good point. It's something to be considered. But we have local government autonomy at this point. And so what's the role of the local government chairman when we are deciding to, cut down on states? Let's look for a way that some of these states can be strong enough. I mean, there were records that some of these states were even bigger than some countries. Yeah. But if these states are not, bringing what they should bring to support the federal, they shouldn't be allowed to.
Well, if the states are created, the local government autonomy would apply to both the new and the old states, and so they would all be accountable at the end of the day. A
win-win situation, actually.
Absolutely.
TUC opposes, that's on the bottom of this Nigeria. TUC opposes federal government proposed toll gate on federal roads, accuses the government of implementing policies without engaging stakeholders, threatening mass protests. But that's it on this Nigeria. And
the New Telegraph is our next paper this morning, right at the top nameplate of the New Telegraph. I'd like to take two stories right here. Kemi Badnoch unveils stricter UK migration rules, 15-year wait for citizenship. Okay. There's a lot to say, but I don't just want to get into that. Federal government reawards 2 bypasses for second Niger bridge. There's something in here. And quickly at the bottom of the new Telegraph right there, TUC rejects proposed 65% hike in electricity tariff. Another one right here, people. And something here for the education. Federal government scraps junior secondary education system, replaces the 6334 system with 12-4 model. Says reform will align Nigeria's system with international standards, foster global competitiveness. That sounds like a wonderful one, but that'll be it for the new Telegraph.
Very quickly to the Blueprint newspaper, which is also reporting this new state. But let's go to the top of the Blueprint. A rather sad one here. The composing Anambra lawmaker Zuka's body found near second Niger bridge. And following that, we see ex-NYSC DG Brigade Siga, 11 others abducted in Katsina. Nelson, this is a very
it's really sad one. It's, we took that story a bit earlier on the news update. It's really sad to see that, this should not be really. We are human beings, please. I like the vocabulary to express this, but it's something that should never be a part of our conversation at all, at any time, please.
Right.
Please.
That's a very sad one, but on the bottom of the Blueprint newspaper, Boko Haram, 7,790 Nigerian refugees in Chad return to Nigeria 10 years after. That's very worrisome. But that's what we have on the Blueprint newspaper. And
the Punch would be our next paper this morning. Ex-National Assembly members groups foiled Reps 31 new states proposal. Senators insist focus should be on states' viability. To your point earlier, Olamide, Afenifere Pandef call for true federalism. Well, let's look for that at the end of the day. And at the bottom of the Punch newspaper, Lagos installs speed limit monitors, imposes 50,000 naira fine. Okay, so for all of you who drive very fast, I'm not mentioning myself, but
okay.
You have a fine waiting for you. But that's it on the Punch this morning.
Very quickly to the weekend hope. There is hope this weekend. Rekim's grief as Ondo government family others honor the late SSG. Concerned over infertility among Nigerian women. That's a study there. And another story, which is, talking about what you mentioned, ICPC recovered over 20 billion naira from ghost workers in 2024. That's according to the ICPC chair. But that's what we have on the Weekend Hope.
And the Daily Independent, as we cross to some more other consideration, which is on cost of living. Some conversations around the tariff on tolling, electricity, and others. The TUC is rejecting this, says federal government implementing policies without engagement. All right. And say may mobilize for mass protest over FG's policies. Okay, but let's get to the bottom of the Daily Independent, and that would be Tinubu okays 65 years retirement age for clinically skilled health workers. All right, we took that story yesterday when we found that. And alleged 423 billion naira scam, Northern Christians gave EFCC 72 hours to arrest Erufai, the former governor of Kaduna. A lot is happening in the polity, but that would be it for the Daily Independent.
And let's go to Nigerian News Direct. TUC manufacturers kick against proposed 65% hike in electricity tariff. Nelson, we've seen this since the beginning of the week. Another story here says Minister proposes review of basic education model, 16-year age limit for tertiary admission. But that's an ongoing conversation.
Right.
And Bauchi earmarks 7.8 billion naira for reconstruction of assembly complex. That's, well, let's leave that.
Okay. And let's quickly run to the leadership newspaper this morning. Again, we see Tinubu ends Uni Abuja VC crisis, sacks Maikudi. And so there's a new VC on the seat. Bandits kidnap ex-NYSC DG, others in Katsina. A conversation around insecurity here, and we can't allow this to continue. Fuel distribution, pipeline rehabilitation faces fresh challenges. Experts say no viable product conveyor belt. Funding causes setback, and rehab to address tanker explosion incidents. Okay, but I think that will be it for the leadership newspaper.
Well, let's go to the first newspaper. Shatima makes bold claim. Americans now prefer Nigeria for kidney transplants.
Oh,
that's a very bold claim.
I like that.
As seen.
I like that. I like that.
But it's great that, you know, a few days ago I saw the Usman Danfodio University having their first kidney transplants. So it's, I mean, it's a good one, and perhaps that's what the Vice President is quoting. And there is a whole lot of, you know, reaction to this lawmaker's death, which is a sad one. That's on the top of the first news. Lawmaker's death, Anambra now war zone under Soludo. Labour Party cries out. That's a big allegation. And veteran actor Columbus Iriswanga passes away. Nelson, I think you know that.
That's a sad one right there. That's a sad one.
That's a very sad one.
But I like that bold statement by the Vice President that Americans now prefer, you know, coming to Nigeria to do such a very critical surgery. That's some good news. Nigerians have never lacked in the medical sector. Again, that's why we talk about
professionals,
brain drain in that sector. We've never lacked experts and professionals who are able to handle whatever kind of surgery it is.
Well, whatever kind of surgery it is. But however, we are looking at, I saw a figure recently saying that we have, you know, 2,000 patients to just one doctor. It's about having medical professionals that will, you know, meet up with the health needs of the people.
That's
not
one.
Just a one-off situation, which is something as big as a kidney
But the
transplant.
conversation is not about that alone, right? It's about recognizing that we have the manpower. It's now creating the welfare structure and remuneration that, you know, enables them to work effectively in our environment without having to look out to go someplace else. We have the hands who are able to do the job here.
We have the hands.
And that's why they're coming here now.
That has never been an issue. We have great medical schools here where even some of our own still have to, you know, go outside of the country, and they do better in the health sense.
Absolutely. So it's good news for us.
That's not even, you know, up for question.
Absolutely. And that takes us to the Platform Times this morning, which is our next paper. The top name place right there, Ogun Customs racks in over 4.335 billion naira revenue in January as the Education Minister proposes 12-year basic education model. And something a little bit down there, 7,790 Nigerians return after 10 years as refugees in Chad. This is quoting the Borno State government. All right, and something very interesting here, Olamide. Federal government demands reversal of use of mother tongue in primary schools. Okay. And at the bottom of the Platform newspaper there, something very disturbing. I had sex with a 16-year-old boy, but not for money rituals, says Lagos Hotelier. We've seen that story making the rounds thus far, but that'll be it for the Platform Times.
Right. I saw that video yesterday, and so many persons were raising questions on that. But that takes us to the Nature News. Nigeria secures $500 million facility for critical mineral value chain development. But something else on the left of the Nature News. Trump withdraws United States from 2 more UN agencies.
He's out for it. Trump came back with a big bang this time around.
I'm no longer shocked about anything he does again.
You know.
But I think that's it for the Nature News.
And finally, we have the Sporting Live with a little bit of sports this morning. Van Nistelrooy, I think I got that right, declares Ndidi fit. This is as Man United and Leicester would be facing off. And here Nacho targets EPL promotion for Borough. Boniface mocks critic who called him talentless.
For someone who has been making the headlines this week.
Is that really something to be said? How dare you call him that? That is not even possible at all. Olamide, but I think that's how far we can go for the newspaper review this Friday.
Right.
What are you going to be doing this weekend?
Oh, well, I think that will be work anyways, and we'll be back here on Monday for an update. Tomorrow we still have TVC breakfast, Saturday.
All right, I see that. Well, whatever it is you'll be doing this weekend, just have fun and see you next week.